Thank you very much, Law. Welcome to the LEC post-game lobby after Week 7. I'm QuickShot, joined by Amazing. We'll be waiting for André Guilhoto from Origin to join us in just a few minutes. Unfortunately, Attila will not be joining us for this one. Before we get André here, Amazing, what's your take on the game? I mean, it looked pretty clean, pretty controlled from Origin start to finish.
I think what the Moose said before the game was kind of true. If you play controlled against Vitality and you deny the early game plays, especially towards the top side of the map, the game becomes so different against them because they keep repeating the same moves because that's what they're obviously practicing, and they are stuck in a repeat cycle and nothing's working, and then basically you just take over the game because the other lanes outscale.
It must make you a little bit happy to see a team win in a controlled manner against Vitality, and the reason I say this on a personal level is you were mentioning at the top of the show in Ready Check how Vitality have this style that is counterable,
yes.
and it was demonstrated very flawlessly by Origin.
Yeah, it needs discipline. I think a lot of teams nowadays kind of lack discipline to a certain extent, where they just rather match play for play instead of actually analyzing what's happening on the map to then find a counter for it. So someone like Origin, a team that is vastly different to a lot of teams in the LEC, is actually playing controlled side. They don't have the best individual players, so they have to rely on good macro, good shot calling, and honestly analyzing the enemy before they're actually doing something.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the fact that Seikun was obviously playing in for Jizuke. Yeah. How much of an impact does this have when coming up against a guy like NukeDuck, who's 13th unique champion in 14 games? We heard him there saying, look, he lost this matchup last week, decided to play it today. So, you know, how difficult is it for the team? Because they are playing wounded.
I think it makes a huge difference simply because Seikun is not going to be getting the lane priors in a way that Jizuke gets them, because Jizuke in the first 3 levels especially, someone that will always almost stand almost at the turret, enable Mowgli to invade, enable his team to basically just work around him, whereas Seikun, especially when he goes against NukeDuck or Fabivin, I can't blame the guy, you know, he's going to get pushed in, his lane's going to be controlled, but he still did really well.
Well, definitely did. And of course, I can see André Guilhoto is ready. So please come join us on the set. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Elation. We saw you. Okay. We saw you jumping. Yeah, it's backstage thing. We do fist bumps on the show, so we've got him well trained.
I don't know. I'm sick. Like otherwise,
so is Chachi.
You want to be infected.
So is Chachi. But I would prefer to have a Chachi sick playing than a Maurice sick playing.
What? Straight with the burns. Okay. Welcome to PGL, André. We saw you jumping with Elation when we saw Patrick picking up a kill backstage. Yeah. I saw you run on stage, hugging him, picking him up. I mean, how does it feel seeing your team play that cleanly?
Gragas Predator, that was so fun. No, I mean, I actually went to run to Barney because we were playing with pings since Barney is sick to a state that he actually can't talk. So this play right here where he managed to TP and he's just like pinging that he's coming, and then we're like in comms saying, oh, we are flanking with Vlad, and then it does this. Then that's why I think this win meant a bit more just because of the state of Barney and the way that he performed. The excitement on the Draven kill is just because I saw the plus 1k gold on Draven, so that obviously feels so well. So
managed to pick up the Infinity Edge immediately. Yeah. I see you running straight to Barney Alfari there, giving him a hug. And just before you sat down to join us, André, during Picks and Bans we had Hussein joining VODS, Amazing, and myself, and all 3 of my analysts were saying how Vitality have a playstyle that is counterable and is something that you can actually, you know, sort of download, so to speak. What was it like preparing for the team and knowing they had a substitute this week?
I mean, the substitute didn't change that much, or at least I don't like to see that they have a weakness mid, so we should change our old plan from the week just because they had a sub. I think they actually played a comp that is a bit different from their usual style, with a lot of poke and lack of engage, with only Sejuani being the engage. But we played that comp yesterday. We played against that comp a lot of times during the week, so we were also ready for this. But it was definitely, I was definitely expecting a different thing from Vitality.
Well, listen, Origin end up going 2-0 on the week. Key player of the game is Patrick. He picks up 53% of the votes on that Draven.
Yesterday was robbed.
It's got to feel good. Why was he robbed yesterday?
You see his score? It was 1v9ing, and Nuke, just because he Tamkench ulti into the backline, just gets player of the game.
Amazing. What do you think when you see Origin's 2 wins this weekend? Very controlled, very calculated. You know, it's this like 2000 IQ style of gameplay, you know?
I mean, given that this guy is coaching, I don't think it's 2000 IQ. But
okay, 212 IQ, right? So, but I mean,
I don't understand this.
but like it's 2 wins that are in pretty similar fashion, right? Like Origin are in control, they dictate the tempo, they dictate the moves.
No, I like that this style of play is actually working now. I think in the first couple of weeks it was a bit harder because the game pace was faster than it is now, but due to the 80 changes, for example, top lane changes, all the changes that have come in, it has kind of slowed down the pace in general. And I think teams that have picked up on it first, like Origin, are now actually succeeding, whereas teams, I mean, I guess Schalke would be a good example of teams that not adept.
Yeah, you would.
They actually, like, you're basically falling behind in a way where you get outscaled way too early, and Vitality may be another victim of that, potentially.
We'll have to find out. Looking very smug there, Andre. Care to chime in?
No, I mean, It's one of those rare reasons where I agree with Maurice. But honestly, I also think that it's not only the pace of the game, it's also the fact that we managed to learn, and this game kind of proves it, at least for me, against a team like Vitality, which is really aggressive, on how to control the aggressiveness of the enemy teams. Yesterday, I saw a lot of comments as well that same old Splice, they don't do anything, and then they're just waiting for a mistake, and now we just win the game. But this game was kind of similar to yesterday, just against a team that is way more aggressive and do look to do stuff, which means that I think that we are just doing a good job on controlling that aggressiveness, and even knowing what play they want to do first, and then just doing another play ourselves if we are not strong enough to fight them. And then we just outscaled. I saw that at some point, both Oriana, since Tamkench was sitting mid, was getting a level ahead. Ezreal was giving up some waves, so Draven was getting ahead. And then it's just slowly choking them down. And
until you win the game. I mean, it's clean, it's controlled, it's calculated.
And I fulfilled my promise that I made to Attila.
And what was that promise?
That Draven would be open.
Well, there you
go. He's
always
crying on Twitter. Draven is never open against me. Draven was open.
Yeah, but you cheat because you steal it in first pick.
But they chose side, though. They had side selection.
They did indeed. They chose red side. It didn't help. Listen, let's turn our attention to the standings. There's only 4 games left for each of our teams. And in the race for playoffs, Origin are now tied with Splice at 8 wins, 6 losses. You're also tied in head-to-head at 1 win apiece. So, you know, depending how these next few weeks play out, it's very, very exciting. What's your reaction here? Amazing.
I mean, that looks a lot worse than I had it in my head, you know?
Wait, wasn't Schalke 7-2?
They were. They're on a 5-game losing streak.
Oh, okay.
It's a difficult.
Oh, what are you trying to do here, buddy?
Nothing. I was just asking. It's the first time that I see the standings, you know? Okay.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Listen, what's happening with Schalke in your opinion, Andre?
I think that they found a lot of success with playing the same picks mid, and they managed to create some good routines with their mid jungle. But now either teams figure out what their routines are. I also think Memento is misplaying a bit, some stopwatches and some timings that is getting wrong. But overall, I think that their mid jungle just became a bit weaker as a duo, and that reflects on Odo also playing worse because he has less river control, so he wants to play super aggressive, but now he can't, and he can be punished. And their bot lane, to be honest, is just being still consistent, but they are usually falling behind, and they usually have those picks of just scaling and try to do well in team fights. But if they
can't get to team fights, you can't shine.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a difficult situation. Of course, if you look at the rest of the table, XL and Rogue, with their losses this weekend, they are now eliminated. They can no longer make playoffs. And amazing, in turn to the rest of this middle of the table, 2 teams at 8 and 6, 4 teams at 7 and 7. I mean, it's super tight with only 4 games left.
I mean, I still expect Schalke to make it, honestly. I don't think they will necessarily have bad matchup against, let's say, Misfits. I think they face them next week.
They do. They play XL and Misfits next week, and then Schalke play Origin and Rogue to complete the split.
I mean, if I was talking about prediction, for example, for the playoffs, that I think the teams that are going to be in playoffs are obviously G2, Vitality, Origin. I think Splice, Fnatic, and Schalke are my favorites right now. So I'm kind of surprised by...
So that means for you, Misfits, SK drop out, right?
I would say so. Like,
what is Splice schedule?
I tell you right now, Splice will be playing G2 and then SK, then Misfits and Fnatic. So that's a pretty tough schedule.
I mean,
that's actually tough.
But if they go 2-2, I think then they're in, no?
Yeah, but what 2 do they win, though? Because Fnatic is looking quite strong now.
SK and Misfits, they can win.
Okay.
So Guilhoto, we've heard Amazing. Amazing believes that Misfits and SK will drop out. They'll be 7 and 8. All right. So the other teams will play 6. Which 2 teams do not advance to playoffs, in your opinion?
Oof,
And I have the schedules here, so I
mean,
want to know who
Don't
people
say
are
anything
playing.
wrong here, buddy.
No, I don't know. I think that Schalke, of course, has 1 loss already on those 4 games, and unfortunately for them, because I
They
really
play Origin. That's
yes,
what you're
of
implying.
course. But they also have Excel and Rogue, and I think that only us and us and Schalke have Excel and Rogue on their last 4 games.
Yep, I believe so too.
Which means that our schedule is in theory a bit weaker or a bit more accessible. But then, to be honest, it's super hard to predict. I would say that Misfits is going out, and I would say Splice is going out as well. But it's so hard to predict because just like we showed a different face last week than we did this week and the week before, Splice showed two different faces this weekend. SK the same, even though today, I mean, yeah, just G2 decided to give the win. And Schalke, it just depends. If they can find their success than before, then they can win against Excel and Rogue. If not, then it might be a tough one. Excel is looking strong now.
Okay, so where do we land? Because you gave me like pretty much every team. So you said Misfits definitely out.
No, I say that I think Misfits and Splice will be out.
Okay, got it.
But it's just hard to predict because of all these factors.
No, of course. And we're not going to hold you or quote you on this, Andre. But it's just like gut reaction,
you would.
You know?
You actually would say Guilhoto.
I mean, I'm looking at now the Misfits schedule. I don't know if we said it, but they play Fnatic, Schalke, Splice, and their final game's G2. So it's also a very difficult schedule, you know, which is also why gives you that feeling that Misfits are going to struggle if they play it the way they did this weekend.
Yeah. That Misfits Splice is super important. I think whoever loses is definitely out.
Misfits Splice definitely out. All right, so that one I will quote you on because that one I really like.
Whoever loses.
That is absolutely repeatable. Listen, we've only got 2 weeks left of the regular season, okay? And that means we're starting to get closer to MVP voting as the spring split is going to close up. Earlier today, I challenged Amazing to decide who is his MVP of the split so far and who is mine. What we're going to do is we're going to present our cases. Andre, you're going to be the deciding judge, but I'm also going to ask the fans at home. We're each going to argue our pick. I'm going to start with it, and then I'm also going to ask the fans at home which player. This is collusion. Don't jump in there.
I mean, he's offering
one opinion is right, one opinion is wrong, no?
Exactly, and mine is the right one. So we're going to start with, okay, my selection. I have decided that for my MVP of the spring split, I have selected SK Self-Made. The reason I have gone for Self-Made, we have a jungle matchup. I forgot it's a matchup graphic. Amazing's gone with Yankos, is I believe that without Self-Made, SK do not even get to 7 wins and 7 losses. I also believe if you look back over the opening weeks, Self-Made was the reason they picked up wins. Now we started playing a few more scaling champions. The team is starting to play around them. I think CrownShot's development is very impressive. Also, earlier today, Self-Made took down G2, one of only 2 teams to do it.
Oh, he beat Junkos.
He did.
How did he do that?
Do you know what I mean? If my guy beat his guy,
that means
there,
he's
right?
better. Yeah, I agree.
But I think the main thing that I do want to take away,
who won
the
player of that series? Was it Perks?
I believe it was CrownShot that actually won.
Wait, why wasn't it Perks?
What are you saying?
Before we get to the flame, the reason I think I want to go self-made for this one is obviously the value he brings his team to me is higher than anybody else in the league. So give me a defense for Yankos.
Okay, so for me, it was going to come down to either Jankos or Caps because both of them are on the most successful team in the league. And honestly, I think Caps, while he's been doing well, Jankos has been the most cerebral jungler in the league. He has been the best early game jungler. He has been the best in team fights. He has been the best at facilitating, like, basically his knowledge to his lanes, as well as obviously pathing correctly every single game. I've seen no mistakes of him in the early game. There's been rare occasions where he's actually had a screw up, and it's only been like mid game when G2 is basically starting to troll. So I think Jankos, if he wasn't on that team and was replaced by an average jungler, G2 would not nearly be as good as they are.
You really believe that?
Yes, I actually believe it because the average is a lot worse than people think.
Okay, so the average jungler does not make G2 as powerful.
Not because especially their bot lane would struggle a lot more. Mickey and Perks, they're not really, they're a decent bot lane, but they're not great. They're not upset Enigma on the top level, for example, if I had to draw a comparison. So he actually does a lot more for the lanes than people think that he does.
Well, listen, fans at home, keep voting Selfmade or Jankos. We're tracking it behind André. André, you're going to give us your vote. Who of us has won
But does
in
it
the
have
argument?
to be one of those two?
It does, unfortunately.
Now, just say, like, who's
Because
right?
I've put you in a difficult position.
If it's one of those two, but just letting it clear, I don't think it's any of those two.
Perfect.
But
We'll give you a chance to say your mind.
if it has to be one of those two, I think it's clearly Jankos, just because for me, most valuable player cannot be on a team that is struggling to be in playoffs. That for me is just
So define most valuable player, because I think this is where our viewpoints will differ.
Most valuable player for me is not the most valuable player for his team, is the most valuable player in the league, the best performing player in the league itself. And even though Selfmade has been performing really well and all your arguments are true, he's not the best performing player in the team. Otherwise, his team would be getting a lot more wins as well. At least that's a really traditional sports view, but that's how I see it. It's not like some guy from Milwaukee Bucks, if they don't go to the playoffs, will get the MVP of the split.
I don't know what that team is, but I'll take your word for it.
It's an
fans at home, thank you for voting. Amazing has won with 52%, by the way. So Jankos has won. I will give you a chance, André. Who is the MVP of the spring split right now, in your opinion?
I actually think that Caps does more for Jankos than you think. But I also think you had... Okay, let's not talk about it. But I think, because like the way that I see it is like Broxa was a god when Caps was on Fnatic.
Oh, maybe I can see that.
And Jankos is now a god, where last split or last year he was not that good when Caps is on that team. So I think that Caps became really good. Obviously, he had the help of Maurice when he was growing up. So this obviously helped. But
I showed him
hey, just take the credit. But I think that he influences a lot his junglers around him. And if not him, then I obviously think Nuktak should be a candidate as well.
I mean, I'm a huge fan. Year of the Duck is maybe happening this year.
You abandoned the hype train. You abandoned the hype train.
I did. I had to choose, unfortunately, 2 heartbreaks. But I mean, let's explore this idea. Caps makes his junglers look better.
No, for sure.
Think,
I mean,
Maurice?
for sure. Besides me, because when I played with him, I could not get along with him. Maybe it had to do, I mean, obviously, like there were a lot of other issues coming in. But Caps, what he demands of the jungler is just attention. He will not necessarily communicate that, but either he's dead at level 2 or the enemy is dead at level 2. And the jungle decides, your own jungle decides whether or not it's him or the other person, So basically you're forced to play around him, and the amount of lane pressure Caps creates in general and the amount of roams he creates is basically making your job easier. Because if he roams top level 4, drops the wave mid lane, I can pick up the wave, or I can roam top with him. I'm happy because I don't have to actually plan everything out, and he can do stuff for me. So I do think that Caps does a lot for his junglers, and I can see the argument there.
I mean, we saw it today, no? I mean, they invade on blue buff. I think Caps dropped like 2 waves in a row, just so Jankos could secure the blue buff.
Well, that's a nice play. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it didn't help G2 win the game today, but it is fun to discuss. Congratulations, you win the argument by 4%, 52 to 48.
A win is a win.
Yeah,
that seems like the QuickShot fan base actually giving him a couple of votes there.
Listen, we're going to move on a little bit now to the key player of the game. Leaderboard, Selfmade is still in first place. He's picked up 6 wins. He's followed by Caps and then by Jankos. It actually just worked out that we picked those 3 names. It actually was not by design. Very important to note, in the event of ties, the player that has received the highest percentage of votes then comes out on top. So, for example, Caps, significantly more percentage over Jankos, etc., etc. And there's your boy Nuktak as well.
Yeah. I mean, he should get 3 because Patrick, I think he deserved yesterday. But to be honest, I also feel that our wins come a lot from team play, and it's hard to stand out, especially if you're not a carry. I also think that yesterday Alfonso Missy did an excellent game with Thresh, so he could be there as well. But yeah, there's no love for supports, and we know
there's
already.
Not a huge love for supports, at least not at the top of the table. We're going to move on to the Alienware Big Plays, of course, as we are now going to be closing out Week 7 of the Spring Split. We're going to look back at some of the best moments from the Rift in our Alienware Big Plays. First up, it is Vitality Saken. He was thrown to the Wolves when he stepped in as an emergency substitute against Misfits, and the French mid laner rose to the occasion, putting Maxton Soaz in his rune prison.
Maxwell maybe
dangerous.
forcing onto Seiken here. He has the teleport, has the realm warp as well, but Maxwell going in. Tower goes down in the mid lane. Vitality on the chase. Maxwell gets the knock up, but Seiken just trading. Winning the 2v1 at the moment. Abyss of Voyage comes in as well from Jacktroll. There's the redemption. And Seiken, he's pulling his best Jizuke face on because he takes him out in the 2v1. The realm warp coming in for the chase as well. And there's something about Vitality mid laners playing Ryze in a side lane because today is Seiken's day.
Jinx, get it? We're going on. Kill Rek'Sai together. Go in them.
Redemption, stay in
Go on them. Okay, go there. We need to go Nash now. Go Nash together. Go Nash.
Flash.
Man, Cabo communicates a lot.
Yeah.
I love, by the way, there's like analysis here. All I'm doing is getting excited. I'm trying to watch Seiken. But what do you think of when you listen to the comms and you see Seiken substitute come in and like step up?
I mean, he seemed really calm. I think Attila also gave an interview saying that he was quite calm. So that's good. I mean, it's just another EU mid laner that can perform. But I don't know. I mean, to be honest, Maxlor, he has no MR. He's a Rek'Sai, just goes there to Ryze. But I also think that Ryze kind of fits well with Vitality, and he should probably know the style because I know that they're really close with the academy team. So I just think that he did a good debut, and hopefully we'll see him again in the future.
Yeah,
not for Jizuke, because I love that guy.
Yeah, exactly. All the best to Jizuke, who is currently unwell. Let's move to the next one. Fnatic and Bwipo, they had full control from start to finish against Schalke yesterday. The top laner summoned the troops for battle, yelling out, Demacia!
Wait, for real? Wait, did that really happen?
Can we contest it?
Yes, I can move.
I'm moving on him.
I'm moving first.
Yeah, I'm coming too.
You should get 3 on that.
I won't be 3. I missed a bit of XP.
I should kill top here.
I have it. Nice job, Sob.
Abadage behind them. Schalke trying to find an answer to this early Fnatic pressure. There's a teleport in from Whitbo. Abadage, the one caught out. He jumps back. Teleport. Whitbo looking for the knockup. Memento needs to dodge away, but he can't dodge from that. Whitbo on a killing spree. 3-0 now on this job.
I don't want to really tank though. Like I want to kill people.
tank.
I'm holding.
I think they're both dead, by the way.
I think we should do Nash.
Listen.
Wait.
I got him.
Okay, nice. Woo! Game's over. Nice.
Nice job.
All apologies to everybody listening with headphones or loud on speakers. Did not mean to blow those up. But I mean, it's good to see Bwipo playing confidently, being supported. Similar today on the Silas, if I recall correctly. Really good performance out of Bwipo and Fnatic.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so far when Fnatic has picked up the wins, it's been through bottom, mostly reckless carrying. But Bwipo actually stepping up and giving them another dimension to play off of is really good for Fnatic, especially coming forward when you play the likes of Vitality, for example, in playoffs, if you happen to be there.
Yeah, it was the Aatrox, not the Silas earlier. I forgot that one. Finally, earlier today, SK Gaming pulled off that massive comeback against the superstars of G2. The underdogs could see the victory on the horizon as they pushed into the base for a thrilling finish.
SK looking for the inhib. Teleport comes out. Caps immediately goes for the inhib himself. G2 trying to stall SK, but SK might just take the fight. Wonder down to about half HP. Whirler jumps in, pucks, cleanses it away. Great knock up. The Cataclysm comes out as well. But already Jankos is down. And now SK just trying to turn and burn on this fight because Caps is on their inhibitor. He's looking for the base. One down. Jankos falls. Crown shot takes down the inhib. Takes down Mickey as well. Is this it? Is this the moment that SK keep their playoff dreams alive? They take down G2 in their base. Wonder trying to do it again. Perks there as well. But already the second Nexus Tower's fall. Caps is on the Nexus Towers, but SK are on the Nexus, and they will take down G2.
Okay, look our base, eh?
They're pushing. Just push.
Okay, look, guys, look. Okay.
Just
Fight them. Darba.
Lantern, Poppy lantern. I don't have lantern, okay? I don't have lantern, guys.
Darba.
We need to base, guys.
Towers, towers.
We need to kill tower.
Be close to the wall. Tower.
So chaotic.
It's hype. It's messy.
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
It's exciting to watch. Look, Crown Shot again was one of the guys that I personally was very critical of at the beginning of the split. His Jinx today, very, very impressive. Self-made with the help of SK. They pick up the win. Say what you will about SK, you got to be good enough to catch the throw and punish the mistakes, and that's what SK did today.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, if I had to do a comparison, it's more like they are a basket and the ball just went to the basket. It's like that's how they catch the throw, in my opinion. But obviously, it's still really good that they managed their composure, and I think that their mental strength was quite good, especially coming back from yesterday's loss. And as you said, they managed to penalize it. And even though it seems really easy, and it seems now it's easy to say that the Caps decision is wrong, it should be really hard for SK on that stressful situation to make the right call, to ignore Caps and to keep pushing. So obviously props to them as well for that win.
They absolutely did. And of course, if you're a Fnatic fan, you absolutely hate G2 for that, because now Fnatic are in this very difficult situation. SK would have been one loss down. Look, let's turn our attention to next Friday. We do have another set of games coming up, as we are only 2 weeks away from rounding out the split. Next Friday's games, André, you guys are playing SK. We've obviously got Splice versus G2 for top of the table. That'll Fnatic versus Misfits, both teams sitting at 7-7. Huge implications. I mean, which games are you going to be most excited to watch?
Well, Origin SK, I think that's a big one for both teams.
You shouldn't watch that one.
I shouldn't watch
Listen,
Schalke XL, that's for sure. I don't know what's up.
G2 killers, all right? That's what happens.
Yeah, one stomped, one throat. So, no, but I think it's actually super interesting. Like, Schalke XL is, it's obviously just a game for Schalke to break their losing streak. But Fnatic Misfits, Splice G2, and obviously Origin SK have huge implications for the playoff race.
If XL play the way they do today, and yesterday to a degree, like, what's your take on Schalke's shot against them with playstyle-wise?
I'm honestly not quite sure Schalke's playstyle anymore, because like I've been advocating for like AD carry-centric style, but I think honestly Schalke will go into the XL game with a completely different confidence to what they've had beforehand, because it's so far always been about like, okay, we have to beat this playoff team, we have to beat this playoff team. But against XL, honestly, it depends on how you see it. There's less pressure or more pressure. But I think with how I see the players on Schalke, they probably see that as more of a warm-up game for the rest of the weeks.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And of course, obviously,
it can be dangerous though.
Of course,
that can be really dangerous.
How do you combat that? Because you know, Origin take down G2, they come back the next week and go 0-2, right?
Yeah, because we thought they were warm-up games.
Right.
Kind of. No, it's
I know
not
what
really,
you mean.
but
It's an oversimplification, right? But it's like bravado, ego, overconfidence. It's a very fine line.
But I think that the Schalke is kind of the opposite, you know? It's like they think that I think that they are just balancing between the edges, according to what you said as well. So far they have like this insane pressure of we have to beat this team because they are direct contenders to the playoff race as well. And then it's obviously extreme pressure for them. But if they go with the other extreme with oh, it's just XL, we are beating them for sure, and their preparation lacks, or they just prepare for the next day, then they are on the extreme of relaxing, and they can be caught by surprise. XL is not playing that they are not playing bad at all. I mean, their mid to late game is a bit questionable, but Schalke is not getting to mid to late game, so
yeah. I mean, it's going to be difficult. I mean, XL showed it today. Very exciting early game against Misfits, and managed to get a few plays that got them into the game. Just as an update, Fnatic versus Misfits will be the match of the week next week, so make sure you tune in for that. The race for playoffs, where hashtag every game counts, is heating up. That just about does it for us here. Before we go, though, over in the LCS, Week 6 is about to start. Their pre-show will be followed by Clutch Gaming versus 100 Thieves. Not too excited about that. If you want to watch more of the LEC, it'll happen after the rebroadcast. What I do want to ask about is tomorrow's LCS game. Cloud9 taking on TSM. André, do you watch a lot of NA, just for interest's sake? Not a lot?
No, I can't watch.
Okay,
it's painful.
We're not going to get into Flame. We're not going to get into Flame because it's super easy. But Cloud9 versus TSM, I mean, it's a classic. It's a legacy matchup. TSM beat Team Liquid. Are you excited about this matchup, Maurice?
Yeah, I actually am. I think TSM right now may actually have a claim for being the best team in NA right now, because they beat TL and they're actually on a win streak now too. So it would actually be the question, who's going to upset TL in the end? You know, Cloud9 or TSM, and whoever the winner is can now like kind of have that claim to fame to a certain extent.
Yeah, try and chase towards the end. Listen, that does it for us here in PGL. André, do you have any message that you'd love to send to the Origin fans or supporters who are happy to see you bounce back with a 2-0 this week?
I mean, I think that most of all is also to appreciate when we went for the 0-2 week, all the support that we got. Obviously, I know how demanding Spanish fans and Origin fans can be. So it was really important for the team to see their support, and that helps us a lot bounce back. And now we are just happy to give back that support, and now we hope to just keep that to the rest of the split and in playoffs.
Well, definitely looking forward to it. We'd like to thank you so much for joining us for Post Game Lobby. Maurice, amazing Stucky. Thank you for joining me all weekend here on the LEC. That does it
nice
for us. We will be back
really nice
next week after these two are going to continue talking about wardrobe. We'll see you for LEC Spring Split Week 8. Goodbye and good night.
That's actually
I said it right. I didn't say the wrong one.
actually.
Well, knocks back one. Mickey comes in, but the ban goes down. And now it's only Caps and Mickey in the pit. They get put in the box. Caps getting a lot of damage out, but Crownshot's still alive. And SK take down 2. Is this it? Is this the moment that SK keep their playoff dreams alive?
Tower.
Chachi off towards the side lane, immediately teleports in. 3,000 HP on that Baron. Zest jumps in as well. He gets the smite. He steals it away. The slicing maelstrom will hit onto 3 members, but already Odo is down. Momentum very low as well in the backside of the fight. 2 kills, 3 kills for Splice. Schalke lose their AD carry, and maybe they're going to lose a lot more than that, because once again they start a fight, and Splice are the ones who come and knocking at their door. They take him out. It's another kill, and they look Schalke in the eye and say, "We are the superior team today."
Lands a beautiful cocoon here onto Rogan. Nemesis on the prowl as well.
So nicely done. The Chomp finds 2. Here comes Nemesis once more. That's a killing spree for him. Turns his attention. Bwippo uses a stopwatch behind the Nexus to buy some time. Will survive a few seconds longer. The Nexus is being focused. Bwippo goes down, and Fanatical 1 step closer to the playoffs. Paranoia to deny some vision, and we've got ourselves a fight. Hunt Summers down in the bottom lane, though. He's pushing for the tower. Not going to be enough for a kill. Maxwell's able to escape. Oh, the flag drag! Don't! Featherman is going to find 1. That's another for Maxwell. Misfits aren't done yet. They're looking for Kissing. Cagel and Jessica are running for their lives. Misfits may have just done it. Right now, today, Misfits take the win of XL.
Attila jumps forward, but the redemption's enough to heal Mitty. Moku's jumping now. There's the shot though. It hits up to 2. Patrick's going to turn this one around. Look at the Draven. The axes are spinning and Vitality are falling. Patrick landing the axes into the back of Vitality, into the heart of Attila. And Origin will take down Vitality.